Let's move on then to this story. AfriForum wants to question President Cyril Ramaphosa on the ANC's cadre deployment policy at the state capture. The application stems from the time when President Ramaphosa was still chairperson of the ANC Cadre Deployment Committee. This was from the period 2013 to 2016. Now, the group argues that some of the people deployed are at the center of alleged corruption at the state capture. Joining us now is Ernst Roets. He is the head of policy and action at AfriForum. Ernst, thank you very much for joining us. So what has the response been from the State Capture Commission as to your application to cross-examine the president?
So we haven't gotten a response yet, given that it was filed yesterday. But what I can tell you, the short version of what we're asking for the Commission is 4 things. The first thing is a summons for President Ramaphosa to appear before the Commission. The second is that he particularly be questioned about the ANC's cadre deployment policy, what that means, and what are the decisions of this committee, of which he was chairperson at one stage. The third is that AfriForum be given the opportunity to provide evidence before the Commission. And the fourth is that AfriForum be able to appoint someone to cross-examine the President about his testimony.
Yeah, very briefly, what will your evidence be that you want to submit to the Commission about the tenure of Ramaphosa as chair of the ANC Deployment Committee?
Well, the evidence would not be so much about President Ramaphosa himself. It would be about 2 things. The first is the ANC's cadre deployment policy. What does that mean according to our understanding from their strategy and tactics documents, their discussion papers? The ANC has spoken about this many times, and we believe this must be part of what is considered by the Zondo Commission. And then also information about the extent of corruption, and particularly involving people who have in some way, it seems to us, benefited from the decisions of this cadre deployment committee of the ANC.
It would seem also, Ernst, that your aim here will somewhat be to expose the president now, who was deputy president then, on his complicity, if you like, to what went on in as far as the so-called state capture is concerned. Is that indeed what your plan is, to try and expose the complicity of Ramaphosa to the issues?
Yeah, not so much. In a way, I can say the answer is both yes and no. The reason why I'm saying yes is because it's short-sighted to try to blame everything that is wrong in South Africa simply on former President Jacob Zuma, because many of the things that were done during his tenure were the result of policy of the ANC. So we cannot simply say everything is the fault of the former president and basically no one else is to blame, other than his friends. But the answer is also no to your question, because the point isn't really to expose the president or something like that. The point is that the important overarching issue here is that cadre deployment is arguably the most significant contributing factor to state capture and to corruption in South Africa, given the fact that people are appointed because of their loyalty to the party, not their ability to do the job. And the President Cyril Ramaphosa, is the best possible person to appear before the Zondo Commission for 2 reasons. One, he's president of the ANC, and second, he was the chairperson of this committee. So I think he can shed light on any issues with regard to which ordinary South Africans who do not have access to that information have a lot of questions.
Yeah. Ernst, the line to you is a bit patchy, but let's try and perhaps squeeze in this final question. There are specific names that you have basically pointed to in your statement around this, and one of those is a person like Brian Molefe, for example, who would have, I guess, gone through that deployment committee in order for him to find himself at the strategic positions in the SOEs. What about Brian Molefe, for example, will you be taking issue with?
Well, I would, at this stage, not want to go into detail about the individuals, other than to say that we provided a list of individuals in our papers with regard to which we think some questions should be asked. And we're not saying that everyone, all those names that we've listed are people who are involved with state capture or who are corrupt individuals, but that they are in some way, you can say, part of the story of state capture, regardless of what role they have been playing. And it's individuals with regard to which we believe there are many questions. Brian Molefe is one example. And we find that there are many people who are today accused of state capture or corruption or being beneficiaries of state capture who it seems have gone through this commission. So, and the importance of this is that, I mean, we can be angry at these individuals, but if they were appointed by this cadre deployment or as a result of a decision by this cadre deployment committee, then we should also blame the ruling party. We should not only blame the individual.
Interesting indeed. Thank you very much for your time, Ernst Roets. He is with the organization AfriForum, and interesting indeed because yesterday, through the testimony of the former Public Enterprises Minister Lynn Brown, she said that the name Brian Molefe came through former President Jacob Zuma, and the then Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa was asked about Brian Molefe's candidature, if you like, and he gave it a thumbs up. So it's going to be interesting to hear what the President is going to have to say around these issues.